In this video, we're gonna talk about variables. And knowing C++ is quite important to coding Arduino boards. Now this video is dedicated for people who do not have any background in programming or electronics. So if you have any experience prior to this video, for example, you are a programmer or you know how algorithm works, then we recommend that you watch our other videos which are dedicated for people with prior knowledge of programming. And this video, and if you're a beginner to electronics and programming in C++, then do not worry. This video is targeted for such audience, so relax and enjoy. So, variables are a key part of our program. In Arduino, we use variables to store numbers or states or the amounts of times we want to do something. But how will we do that? How can I store the number 4 in my code so that I don't know, the LED for example turns on 4 times with a certain bit of delay? Where do I store the amount of time I want my LED to be on or off? We use variables for this thing, and variables are common in all programming languages. Let's say I want to have a number without decimals, like 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that, without this one, like 1.2 or 1.5. For that we use int, which is short for integer. But we'll just say int, and first of all let's say how we declare a variable. What does that mean? That means that we explain to the code, the compiler, which interprets what we tell it and turns it into code that our Arduino can understand. We will first start by saying what type of variable it is. We want to store an integer. That means a number that doesn't have any decimals. It's like 1, 2, minus 100, minus 10, something like that. We say the type of variable followed by its name, and then we put some semicolons on there at the end. Now this is very key in all C++ code. If you don't put it, the compiler will give you an error. It is a rule and we must obey it. Now let's say I want to give our variable name. Okay, the name is a bit weird. Let's call it b. Variable b value. I will just put an equal and then equal sign and a number like 100. Now our integer has the value of 100 in it. We can also not do that, and the value would be 0. However, if you're coding on other programs, this wouldn't be 0. It would actually be garbage, which means a random number. But you don't have to worry about that, since Arduino actually makes it 0 by default. But it's good to always put it at 0. Now let's say I want decimals in my code. I want to store decimals. How do I do that? We'll use a float. We'll just do it like int. We'll say that I want a float variable with its name. You could say number. Our variable is named number, and we could set it to like 10.5 for example, and put the semicolons at the end. We can also introduce numbers with decimals in another way, which is double, and then like another number or an f. What does it? Well, but there's a question. What is the difference between float and double? For the most part, there wouldn't be any difference, but there is a major bit of difference. Floats store their digits in 4 bytes. However, doubles store their digits or values in 8 bytes. Now, what's the difference between that? Well, that means doubles can store more decimals in them, which means if you want far more accurate numbers, we can use floats. Doubles. But for now, you don't really need to bother as much with that. Another type of variable we got is character. Now, character stores single characters at a time, like A, B, C, capital A, capital B, like that. It can be, let's say, character. Our variable named character has the value of, let's say, B in it. Now, why do we put them in single quotations? In C++, unlike other programming languages, single quotation and double quotation have loads of differences. Single quotation is used for characters. However, double quotation is for strings of text. Now, what does that mean? You can think of strings as text, the one you see on websites, like a sentence. But characters only include one character, like B, A, C, capital A, capital C, W, Y, something like that. In programs like Python, there's no difference, but for C++, there is. If you mix them with each other, the compiler will give you an error. So it's good to know the difference between them. Now, another thing is that we have is bool, which is short for boolean. Booleans store a state of something, if it's true or false, if it's zero or not. If you know about binary, well, that's just about it. In binary, you could say state, boolean state. If I set it to 0 or false in our case, false, either way works. It doesn't. It's like a box that you check on and off. You've seen many websites and so where you like check something on a box. But like I consent to such thing. It's like that. So you could say the state of checking that box for now is on 0, which means off. It's false, so it's not checked. But let's say you check that box now. Well, now it's true, or it's set to 1. That's about it. We may use them in using with microswitches if we want to know their state. Or is the microswitch pressed or is it not? That's about it. That's why we use booleans for. And that's about all that you need to know for now as a beginner. Now, after you gradually get better and better, you can start seeing our other videos which are more complex and difficult. For now, you can follow this playlist, which is for beginners. You don't know how to more code as much, and gradually you can be able to understand things much better. Now, let's say you did not understand what these variables mean. To make it much easier for you, I'll give you another demonstration. But of course, when we get more professional with variables and programming, we don't want to use this vocabulary as much. It's for our own understanding for now. Later on, we're going to use more complex words like I did right now. Now, we can think of variables as cups. You see, these cups can store numbers, characters, or state of something, if it's true or false. Let's say I've got this cup that stores a cup named B. Cup, which is named B, I've labeled it with B, stores a value of 0. In my code later on, I can go and say like B equals, let's say 10. What I've just done is I've gone to the cup named B and I just changed the value from 0 to 10. That's about it. We can do that with other variables as well, such as floats, doubles, characters, etc. Just with its values and stuff. That's about it. You can think of it as a cup for now. But later on, you don't really need to think of that. You get more better, professional with the code. So that's about all you need to know about variables in C++. Now, furthermore that we go, we'll talk about local and global variables within C++. In the next video, we will talk about global and local variables in C++. Thanks for watching. If you liked and enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow our Arduino for beginners playlist to get better and more proficient with both electronics and programming, whether you are a beginner or a professional looking into learning about Arduino and electronics. See you later.